Zane and Zoe from the Young Foundation's Communities Driving Change program, and over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Noel. So I'll just kick us off with a bit of an introduction about the program, and then Zane's going to do a bit of an energizer. Some of you might have just had your lunch, so that'll be nice. So yes, as Noel said, I'm Isabel, and I'm really happy to be joined by my colleagues Zane and Zoe from the Communities Driving Change team. For those of you who don't know us, the Young Foundation is a charity based out of East London, and for the past 60 years, our mission has been to develop better connected and stronger communities across the UK. And we do this in three main ways. So through research on the issues which matter to people, by supporting communities to own and lead social change, and by providing tools and resources to support social innovation and enterprise. And this includes the Communities Driving Change programme, which we've been delivering in the west of Tower Hamlets for the past 4 years now. A little bit about that programme, but it will really come to life throughout the session. It's part of Tower Hamlets Council's health and wellbeing strategy. And I would best describe it as a way of doing public health a bit differently. So starting with what matters to people and how they experience their health and wellbeing in the broadest sense. So from access to work to how people experience their local environment, their relationships, and then supporting them and local services to create change and be more responsive. So what we might call a bottom-up approach. We'll talk through today's session, what we're going to cover. So as Noel mentioned, it's going to be pretty participatory. So I am aware that you're all from probably quite different backgrounds, and we really welcome a variety of experiences and views, and just to apply these tools in a way that feels right for you, whether you're engaged in direct delivery with communities or even with your teams. You know, this is about person-centered approaches and systems thinking. It has to be applicable for anything that involves people and systems, right? So in terms of what we're going to do, it's quite ambitious. We're going to cover a lot, so hopefully you're up for the pace. But yes, we're going to start today after the Energizer talking about person-centered approaches, which are quite broad, and Zane will talk a bit more about that in a moment, but we're going to bring it to life with stories and then apply it to your own work. Then we'll go into a breakout room just for a chance for us all to share together. We're all about participatory methods at the Young Foundation. And then we're going to spend the final part of the session just doing a little kind of brief introduction to aspects of systems thinking which have supported us in our programme, and hopefully something practical and useful for you to take away. So that's enough from me for now. I'm aware most people are on mute, so there's going to be quite a visual energizer, but I'm going to hand over to Zane to just get us in the space.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So yeah, we'll kick off with an energizer. So if you've had lunch, this is going to be good for you. If you could just grab any object in the room that best represents your mood, and then get ready to show it to us. So you're lucky if you've got something on hand. I'm not cheating. I'm actually also going to run and grab something now.
Oh, I always love this. I can see some great things.
Yeah. Oh my God, you guys are so good at this. All right. Maybe we can ask some people to share.
Yeah. So if you want to do the hands up function, and then hopefully Noel will be able to unmute you. But anyone that I can see some very interesting objects. So anyone that's up sharing their. Whilst we wait for some hands, I might share mine, but I can also see Kay has their hand up. I've got a lighter, some fire, because I'm feeling very energized for this workshop, but also a lot of things that are coming after.
How about Kate? We've got Kate.
That's Kate Ivy and then Christopher.
Yeah, Kate Ivy, yeah. Don't know if you can come off unmute.
Do we have that functionality now to just have a couple of people come off mute? Yeah.
Oh, but Nell's also mute.
Sorry, I've unmuted you, Kate, so you should be able to come in.
Yeah, I think Kate's still on mute.
Oh,
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, this might be a visual energizer at the end if we got it.
Let's instead, if you hold it a bit closer to the screen and then pop in the chat, for everybody's welcome to do that. I can see some great ones. I've seen a pen, I think it was a pencil case or a makeup bag. Yep, Olivia, if you pop in the chat, I'd love to hear what that's about. Christopher, you have to pop in the chat what yours is. Is it like a glass with chocolate? Yes. Oh, okay, Kate, I'm personally, and on behalf of all the CDC team, sending you a bear hug to join in with that one. Fantastic. Olivia's just sharing now. Zane, what's yours?
I've got an empty mug because I'm almost, yeah, I just need to get some more tea and I need some more fuel. So that's what I've got.
Fab.
We still don't know what Christopher's is, but.
So yeah, the chat function. Yes, here we are. A mug of hazelnuts, free from my community-owned village shop, full of the goodness of the earth. Okay, well, I want the link to that shop. That looks fantastic. Amazing. Fab. All right. Thank you so much. And yeah, that's a good question. Peter wants to know if you're half empty or half full, Zane.
Definitely half full, for sure. Yeah. Ready to go.
Fab. Thank you everyone for sharing, and feel free to keep popping it in. And Olivia has just shared about the pencil case. I knew it was a pencil case. Keeping everything safe, all of our pens. Great. All right, so without further ado, and hopefully the tech will run smooth from here on out, Zane's going to do a bit of framing now about what we mean by person-centered approaches. So if you want to share the screen, Zoe.
Thanks, Zoe. So person-centered approaches, I mean, it's kind of what it says on the tin, but, you know, the concept of person-centered design has been around for decades. And, you know, since it isn't a linear approach, it takes shape in many forms. And I'm sure maybe some of you may have already heard of the term before. But the essence of this approach is putting the individual at the center of the impact you want to achieve. So, you know, the approach, it can't be imposed from above or brought in from the outside. You know, it has to work bottom up, where people are part of the approach that is being designed to empower and support people. At the YF, we focus on thinking about how we can be place-based and relationship-based with our person-centered design. So effectively, place-based is, you know, ensuring that our solutions are rooted in the relevant context of the community. So we're thinking about all of those elements that are in the slide. And relationship-based, so simply ensuring that we're building trust and recognition with the individuals we're working with. So we're investing in those relationships so we can achieve the most useful outcomes. So that kind of in a nutshell is person-centered design. And maybe Isabel could help me illustrate it a little bit with an example.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think in terms of theories and approaches, they always come to light best with examples, with stories. And I wanted just to take a moment to tell a story of one of our central volunteers who's been involved since the beginning. But before I do that, I'll just give a bit more context to the programme. So as I mentioned earlier, it's been running for 4 years. It's public health done differently. But really, at the essence, it's supporting people to, as it says in the programme title, drive the change that they want to see and connect with the networks and build the relationships they need to do to get that change done. But for the purposes of today, we're really focusing on what does it mean to be person-centered in that kind of work. So Money has been involved in the programme since about February 2018. And her kind of catalyst moment of getting involved was she was dropping off her children at her local school and bumped into 2 members of our team who were there, just holding conversations with people about the programme, about what change people wanted to see. And for her, that just kind of sparked something. You know, she's a very energetic person, but hadn't necessarily had an avenue to make change in her local area. So it all started with a chat. And from there, Money's had quite a rapid journey in terms of her own development and also the change she's been able to deliver locally. She joined a group of mothers to design and deliver a series of events on her estate and quickly established herself as the caterer. Through the program, she got her health and food and hygiene training, which has really opened up a lot of opportunities for her in terms of setting up her own catering business, joining a women's food collective, and now kind of going on to share those skills with others that are involved in the program. Next week, for example, she's doing a hot meal food drive with her local school, and she just goes from strength to strength in terms of what she's been able to do. Now, that is her journey of the delivery, but behind the scenes has been an ongoing relational element of that work, from that initial chat to regular phone calls, WhatsApp chats. Pre-pandemic, we would go for lunch with one another. And it's not just about the relationship she holds with the team, but also her fellow volunteers. Now, person-centered approaches in this context are quite interesting because for many organizations or groups, you might have a more formal volunteering policy, but for this type of work, because we're supporting people to share their story and need change, it's really about connecting with them with where they're at, both in terms of the place that they are. So we're at the school, we're at where Muni's life operates in terms of her estate, but we're also working to challenge power. And Zane's going to say a little bit more about that. But we really encourage you to share some thoughts in the chat now in terms of what you think might be the interesting or pivotal parts of that approach in terms of the story that I've shared. So in a moment, we're also going to go into breakout rooms. But before we do that, Zane's just going to kind of share some of the ingredients of the story that I've just covered. Off mute.
Just to build on a little bit of what Isabel mentioned, why do we use a person-centered approach? I mean, it's certainly not a quick fix or an easy way out. It's not linear, and it places importance on the individual experience. And individuals, humans, we're complex, ever changing, and that response requires us to be less static in our approach. In our program, we currently have dozens of volunteers. They've been with us the majority of time that we've delivered the program, and that really signals the importance of taking this approach. We've invested in the people and the relationships, and we've really kind of come to recognize the power imbalance. So this means the results may take longer, but it gives us more space to focus on solving the right problems, coming up with more sustainable solutions, and it helps us grow as an organization when we're able to really invest in the relationships in our community. Absolutely.
Thank you, Zane. So in a moment, we're going to go into breakout rooms. But before we do, just want to pose a few questions to you. So as I mentioned earlier, we imagine you're all from different backgrounds and do different types of work. But we feel that it's, in the essence of person-centered approaches is all about the conversations and the people, right? So be really interested to hear from you. Your reflections of what you've heard so far in terms of those core tenets. And just to say, we'll be sharing some resources at the end for really good links if you want to read more into this. Obviously, we've only got an hour. To what extent you are taking a person-centered approach in your work currently, and how that is, and then also how you might like to apply person-centered approaches going forward, and any questions that you have for us. So we're going to go into 3 rooms with myself, Zoe, and Zane, and just really invite us all to have a chance to reflect on those. So when you're ready, Noel, if you can ping us off where we're meant to be, and we'll come back all together as a group in 30 minutes to head into systems thinking.
Cool. Just going to start that now.
So
Noel, if anyone arrives whilst we're in the rooms, just feel free to assign them. I guess that this would be the bit where in real life we'd all be like grabbing a coffee before we go and sit in a certain area of the room.
I can't see Sam Spencer, but thank you for your apple that you wrote about in the chat. So philosophical.